And because I'm tired of mediocre friends. And who else is, right? So let me just share this because it's going to be a good topic. I'm going to be basically sharing from, and I'm also going to be pulling from, like a post that I saw actually that really inspired this topic because I don't feel like it's talked about too much. We talk a lot about like making new friends. Yes, I've talked a little bit about like, some of the downfalls of friendships and like what's missing. But I think it's important too to acknowledge that like sometimes adults can be the worst at friendships. Okay. So this was the post I saw. So let me just share it with you. So this was, I wonder if you could even make, you can't. Okay. So this was a post I saw. Okay, guys. And you can see who it was from on Instagram. And she basically essentially talked about, um, like why adults could basically suck at friendships. And she wrote here, okay, I never believed in low maintenance friendships. I always felt that every relationship needs care, effort, and attention. Um, and then basically it's just saying it has led me to close certain chapters with people in my life. And I remember seeing this and I was like, it's so true. She called it low maintenance friendships, but I specifically call these, it's like they're like catch up friends. It's like the friends who only want to meet basically when they when they can, or it's out of convenience, or like you don't see them other any other way. You would basically just maybe meet every few months. I mean, I feel like that's the bare minimum, like nothing's wrong with that. But like when I saw maintenance friends, I thought that was so true because I feel like the catch up culture when it comes to friends, it's just not realistic. Because usually relationships need to be nurtured, right? You need to put some care in it. You need to put some TLC in it. And I don't understand how someone and for you guys who are tuning in, I'm talking about why adults make the worst friends. And basically I was inspired by this post I saw on Instagram, so you can read it here. Um, and so what I was saying is, I can't believe this has made its way into platonic friendships because in reality, if someone was in a relationship, okay, like they would never do this. Like you would never, hey Rex, you would never just um in a relationship, you would never do this. You would never do like just a catch up and be like, oh, we're just gonna do a catch up and meet like every few months and just catch up. And I don't feel like it's enough because then every time you're meeting, you're literally catching up. Like I think that's just insane. That people think like that's enough. And I've had a few friendships like that where I kind of accepted it. But then I got to realize I was just like, I want more. Like I think the more I grew, the more I started telling myself, I don't want to just accept that. Like I don't want to just accept those type of friendships where people feel like, oh, like we could just have a catch up relationship. Like I think a relationship should have more substance. You should be able to meet on a regular basis, like just how you would treat a romantic relationship. Basically. Um, so I just don't think it's let me 1 second. I just don't think it's realistic. And let me just do this. Oh my god, so annoying. Okay. I just don't think it's realistic. And then another thing I said too was um I think what makes adults suck at it is, okay, so the other day I was finally got to talk on the phone with my friend. And we usually will text and stuff, we will meet up, but I would say we do meet on a regular basis. And the first thing she said to me was like, "Oh, Nikki, I didn't know you're that type to be on the phone and talking on the phone." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm a yapper," and it made me think because I was like, "Oh my god, like, have we come to that where like people literally don't like talking on the phone. Now, I understand texting is cool. Hey, how are you? How are you doing, Keisha? I'm good. I'm good. I literally just started. We're going in a spiel about catch-up friends and why adults suck at friendships. Um, literally just started. So I was just saying, like, yeah, so I spoke to a friend and she was shocked that I was on like I was wanted to talk on the phone. And we talked for a few hours because it was on a weekend and we are just chilling. It was a long weekend. And then she said to me, "Oh, I didn't know you were that type person to talk on the phone." And I was like, "Yeah, girl. Like you can only text so much. Like texting is fun. You like it's fun to banter, all that stuff. But there's something about talking on the phone. Like there's that deeper connection. You could talk more." And I remember when she told me that, it kind of made me think. And I'm like, "Have we got to this? Like where it's like we are afraid to even call people on the phone because we're like, oh, maybe they just like text." I think that's just crazy when she said that to me, and I was like, no, like even if we don't talk on the phone while texting, like we should be able, okay, we should be able to I'm not a dude. Anyways, we should be able to um talk on the phone once in a while. Like let's bring back like back in the day, and I know we're not children, but like bring back just talking on the phone. Like or even if it's FaceTime, whatever, and not always just texting. Um okay, gotcha. So thank you very much, Ari. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's a Russian manicure. I've been getting a lot of compliments in it. But yeah, that's my nails. And so like let me share the next one. So this was another one she put where she's like, and I know we talked about this. So when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh. She said, I learned that many people will drag out romantic relationships, but won't put the same effort into repairing friendships. And they keep on forgiving their partner's mistakes, but show no mercy towards their friends. Man, I think she couldn't explain it better. Yeah, sure. Yeah, yes, I don't. She's like, I don't do texting relationships. You know what's funny is you hear nowadays for like I'll hear some girls. I'm not saying all girls, but a lot of women will say, "Oh, like I wouldn't date a guy where they just text." Like some girls won't even respond to the text. They would wait till the guy calls them. But it's like, but when it comes to our friendships, we just want to text. Why? And I feel like texting just keeps you at like a distance. Like there's like a certain distance that it keeps you at that it doesn't allow you to get super close. Yes, you meet, but like how often are you able to meet? I feel like you're more likely to text someone. Like, I mean, I sorry, you're more likely to get close and foster a better relationship by phone than text. So I think it's like so true. But yeah, and thank you, Keisha. Thank you. About my nails. So yeah, so when I saw this and she made this post, yeah, it keeps you from building a genuine relationship. And you know what? I remember I was talking to a friend before. I won't say who it is, but just in case they see this. And I remember I didn't hear from her for a while. She was going through stuff. And then I remember hearing, and this is no shade, okay? Because I understand that when you like the guy, you are all lovey dovey and you want to talk to him every day. No problem with that, okay? But I remember not hearing from her. And then she told me later on, like, she met this guy and then he calls her like morning, night, whatever. I'm not saying I want to talk to my friends morning and night, okay? But when she said that, it kind of icked me a bit because I was thinking to myself, I'm like, how do you like not talk to any of your friends, right? Like, whatever. And you only see them like once in a while, but like when it comes to the person that is in your life, like you're talking to them all the time. Like I like even if you hear from them once a week, I'm not saying you have to speak every day, but it's like I sometimes question it when I hear like some of my friends where they'll be like, "Yeah, I talk to this guy all the time," and I'll be like, "Girl, I thought you were busy," and it makes me realize like you make time for the things that you want to make time for. I think it always comes down to that. Because of this white image, I can't even see how many people are on this. So yeah, so just if you're tuning in and we're just talking about why adults suck at relationships. And I'm gonna try this too, like, um Hold on one second. Hold on. Do you tend your friends or call? Let's try this. I think it's fun. Um, don't start a Q&A. Um, so yes, you do make time for things you want to. Exactly. Like you see women say, "Oh yeah, like a guy will make time," but I feel like it's the same should go for friendships. And I like how she talked about this, like how like people will show no mercy towards their friends when they do a mistake. But when it's a partner, even if it's a failed relationship, all of a sudden they'll like forgive their mistakes. Like the guy can go the extra mile and do something horrific and they'll find a way to forgive them. And I always wondered, like, why is that? Like, I think that's crazy. Like, I think that's such a. Ah, I don't know. I don't know. And I'm like, I don't. And I get it because you really like the person, but I feel like friendships are that thing that could last forever. You could be 80 years old rocking it. Like where with a man, like you don't know what could happen. Like the other day, I just, you know what's funny? I just read this Reddit story where the guy was with what like an ex-wife for years, and then they found out randomly, basically made her look like a fool. Where basically, he had like a mistress and had a child that was like 14 years old or something like that. And he claimed we don't know the full story, but he claimed that he didn't know about it, and obviously it made her feel like a fool. And I remember thinking, I'm like, oh my god, like and I'm like, you see, like you just don't know when someone could just shift. Like I had another friend where so they had a really awesome like healthy relationship like with a guy, and I remember I was happy for her. I was like, yes, like, and she was telling me like how much he helps them and like how much he helps her and he's there for her, and I was really happy. And she was like when I knew her, she was trying to figure things out, was going through a lot of things. And then a couple years later, I found out a whole situation happened, like a really bad situation happened. And I remember thinking, I was like, what? I saw a mugshot and everything. It was that type of thing. And I remember thinking, like, how is it you're with a person for years? And then all of a sudden the guy just switch. Like I thought that was so scary when I heard that. And I was like, what the heck happened? I'm like, how can like, all of a sudden you feel like that's your soulmate and then the guy just switch. And then all of a sudden she was like, yeah, yeah, like he was doing all this stuff, drinking, blah, 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 behind people's back. Guys, I can't even go into too much detail because I don't want them to figure it out. But I remember thinking like, oh my God, like, and I think like that's why friendships can be so precious. But I think like we we tend to like I understand you're supposed to put your spouse first. I understand that because you live with them, but like I think friendships are just as important and should be cherished, especially if they have been there before. Like, right? So let me show you this next one. I thought she had such good ones. This was another one. Like, um, and some friends, I felt like the moon orbited the sun, but not in a beautiful way. Everything revolved around the other person, their moods, their needs, their distance, their willingness to engage. They dictated their entire dynamic. How many of you guys have had friendships where it's just one sided? I think it sucks. Yeah, this and there. I think it just sucks when that happens, right? Where it's just one sided. And basically, when I read this, I was just like, it's so true. You know, when those people where they'll only call you when there's like an issue, or they'll only call you when they so okay, I recently had a friend where they ran into something where I don't usually talk to them like that, like basically. And we did go somewhere together and it was fine. And then something happened. And right away they said, hey, what do I need to do? And I basically told them what they need to do. There are two options. And all of a sudden, I told them to get help from their significant person because they always talk about them. Like, let me tell you about something. I'm all for having friends that love their man. I think it's very sweet. It's cute. I love that because I know okay, there's an opportunity for a wedding because I like going to weddings. But like when like if every time I'm talking to you and you're bringing up your man, It gets annoying. Like we can only talk about your man so much. And like if you're bringing up in every conversation, eventually it gets like, okay, we need to stop. Like we should be able to just like hang out without talking about. Now it's okay to talk about dating rules, whatever, but like we can only talk about your man so much. So if you're gonna be talking about your man so much, right? If you have an issue, guess what I'm gonna do? The first thing I'm gonna do in this type of dynamic is I'm gonna tell you, go ask your man to help you, right? And I'm gonna expect, because if you are talking about my man, my man, my man all the time, that they're gonna run and be your shining armor. But if I see that you're going through an issue and I tell you to go to your man because you call me, and then I tell you to go to your man and then he's not helping, I will look at your relationship sideways. I don't care. And so I recently had someone where they didn't try to ask me for help, and I couldn't help because I was at work. And I remember thinking, I'm like, okay, how do we center ourselves? Some women center themselves around their man, and then their man doesn't help. I think that's crazy to me. Like, and then that's when you want to fall back on your friends help you. I'm gonna tell you right now, like your friends are not your backup plan. Okay, like, if you have not been cultivating a friendship, your friend is not meant to revolve around your world. They're not meant to just show up. It is very hurtful. I mean, I wasn't too hurt because I wasn't that close to her. It's just a friendship that we've been trying to build, but it kind of made me think. I was more hurt for her. Like I remember texting, and I was gonna text her, "Why don't you go? Like, why are you asking me? Where's your man?" But I had to delete it. The Holy Spirit, like the Holy Spirit told me, I literally heard Keisha, yes, going through something like that now, that's painful, girl. It is, especially if you're very close to them and they're only wanting to contact you as a backup plan. Like I think it's just not cool. Um, And it's funny enough, I was reading somewhere where I think it was on Instagram, and then someone commented and said, "Oh, sometimes you have to be careful because there's some people that when their man goes out of town, they will then they'll contact you to like meet up. So sometimes you have to check that too and be like, why are you meeting up with me?" And I'm like, why do we have to do this? Like, why? Like, why do I have to check your motive if you're trying to reach out to me? Like, you should just genuinely want to be friends. Do you mind sharing like what happened going through something like that now? Do you mean like how they're treating you as a backup plan? You don't have to share details because you never know online. But I'm just curious what it was about. I'm curious if anyone that's watching had that, where a friend basically contacts you for something that you haven't maybe talked to in a while, or as a backup plan because they had their person. Um, but yeah, and I have to say that in a moment, like when that person asked me for a favor, and thank God I was busy, but I remember feeling so good because I held on to boundaries because I was like, I'm willing to go, like, I'm willing to go through the world with that person. Like, if you're my friend, I'm loyal. Like, I will help you. I will go my way. Like, I'm a natural person like that. But I've learned, unfortunately, like, you have to have some boundaries. Like, if you're only hanging around with your person and you're not making any effort to hang around your friends, and then when an emergency happens, they're not there. When an emergency happens, your man is not showing up. I'm looking at you sideways and wondering why you're with him and saying, my man, my man. Because if you're screaming, my man, my man, my man, and you're very male centered, like that guy should be like he should be on his knees. What do you say? Hands and foot? What do people usually say? Knees and foot, like ready to help you. Like, I have problems with that. And this is what I mean. Like, sometimes I feel like women are loyal to the wrong things. Like you're loyal to the wrong type of people. Like you could be loyal to a man if he's with you for you. But like if he's not doing what he's supposed to do, if you're going to work all day and then you have to still listen, I've had people tell me that and they'll say it so casually, I guess because they're in love. And I'll be like, wait, what? You were at work all day and the person was home. Oh my God. The person was home and didn't cook for you? I think that's insane. And sometimes I have to hold myself back because I don't want to seem like the Debbie Downer because I know it could come out that way, but it's like, I guess because I'm not in love right now. So, like, to me, it's like I'm looking from the outside and I'm like, hell no. Like, I think like that's important to have some type of filter because you know what? If they were best friends with someone, they will notice right away like what's missing. They'll notice right away if you're doing something off and they're not being treated right. Why is that? I think that's hilarious to me. Anyways, I like to focus now on friendships with shared interests. Yeah, I think it's now I have friends and I agree. Like I had a group where we would go pickleball and it was fun because you would just connect on that level and then that was it, right? So there's that hobby aspect. Um but you know what? There's just I don't mind if I'm connecting with women who are in relationships. I have friends like that. Nothing wrong with that. But I think they have a really good balance. And there are people who have their significant other that really want genuine friendships. Like they don't want to just hang out with their spouse and forget about everyone else. And I appreciate that people because that's like a really good balance. It's like the friends I have problems with is when they're very male centered and then they forget everyone on earth. Like that's when the problem starts. Um, but yes, it's like if you could find a interest beyond just talking about your guy friend, like completely. Um, but you quickly discover just even from this post, like how selfish people are. Like people will say they want friendships, but they really want it for their own gain. It's not really for like it's like friendships has almost become transactional where like it goes back to like where I talked about a few days ago like people will be friends with you for like pretty privilege. They'll be friends with you because you have something that they don't have that they want. They'll be friends with you because of your job. Like it's all status. Like I'm not saying everyone's like that, but friendships could get very exactly. It could get very transactional if you're not careful. I found. And like people just want something to gain from it. And if they're not gaining, they're not benefiting from it, then they either end the friendship. Yes, everything is transactional nowadays. It's so sad. It is. Even you see it in dating. Like it's like people treat friendships like dating and it's like it's not dating. Like friendships are just meant for you to be able to like you said, connect, have some type of genuine interest and go from there. But like people unfortunately have treated like they're trying to get transactional except there's no like sexual thing going on. But it's fortunately gotten that way, and it kind of sucks because you're like, especially if you're like, I just want a genuine friendship. Like, I keep on thinking about childhood. I know we're adults, but I think of those friendship where it used to be so innocent, where you would like, you'd go outside and just play with your friends, skip rope, and like enjoy each other's company, talk on the phone, and like it was just so genuine. It was so innocent, and I feel like we've lost that. Like where we just want. I get people are tired. Like I get people want to just move up because things are hard, but we have definitely lost that aspect um of what true friendships are. Like people lack effort, like people don't want to. That's why they suck. Like honestly, a lot of times when people say they don't have friends, they're not saying to everyone, right? Because sometimes you do generally want to build friendships. So I'm not talking about those people who generally want to build friendships, but they have to set boundaries, unfortunately, and end friendships. Okay, I'm talking about the people who suck at friendships, meaning that they don't want to put any effort. They're basically literally treating it as they are the prize. Like this is not dating. Like I'm not treating you as the prize. You're not a prize. We're both a prize if we're in a friendship. Yes, women can be a prize in a relationship, right? In the guy's eyes. But this is not a dating scenario. There's no prize. Like if I'm talking to you, it should be very mutual. Like honestly, it should be 50-50. You should be asking me to go places and then vice versa. Now, I understand in the beginning, it may not be like that. You have to put your first foot forward. So let me tell you a story. So I remember I met this girl through 222. You should check out that app. It's awesome because you can meet people and all that stuff, like in dinners and stuff like that, in secret locations. So I met this girl and I remember I asked her to go somewhere to hang out. And then she said, "Hey, I couldn't." And then I think a few weeks later, then she reached out and she was like, "Hey, do you want to have breakfast?" And I was like, "Oh." And you know what she said to me? She was like, "Oh, Nakia, it was on me because you asked me out already, and I was busy. So I knew that it's in my court. The ball is in my court." And I was like, "Oh shoot." Like you don't hear people say that when they're like, "Oh, I know it." Cuz you know when you have those friends where like you'll ask them to go somewhere and then let me know if you guys have had that. Like if you're watching and you've had that friend where you keep on asking them to go places, but then when you ask them, they keep on saying no, and then you keep on asking them, and then eventually you just stop because they never actually. Yeah, I think she's very much. Yes, I would agree. She was mature. Yeah. Because there's people like that. You keep on asking, they say no, and then eventually you have to stop asking them because you're like, how much rejection do I need? Like, and I think that's what you want to find is like mature friends, but they're hard to come by. They're so hard to come by. But yes, I knew she was a keeper. When she said that, the ball was in my court. I was like, dang. Like, I don't think I've experienced that. Like, yes, I've had good, like, fairly good friends. But for someone to own up and say, no, I declined it, so it was on me. And then now we're building it out. We don't talk every day, but we do text and stuff. Like, we don't talk on the phone as much, but it's building. It's building. Like, I'm actually she planned like a get together for 2 weeks from now or something, with a few friends. So I was honored. I was like, thanks for inviting me. And then I invited her to my birthday as well. And like that's how it should be, like reciprocal. But I find like it sucks because people just want they don't want to be reciprocal. Ideally, like women just want to sit there and then wait for the next woman to like reach out to like rock their world. And it's like, no, like you have to make some type of effort. Like it just doesn't work that way. Like it cannot be one way. Like you can't. I don't know how people, and then those are usually the people who will complain and say, "Oh, I'm not making any friends," and blah blah blah. And it's like, okay, but when's the last time you've asked a friend that you haven't talked to in a while, who may have asked you out, but like, when have you asked them out? When have you made the effort? And that's another thing is like, notice people don't want to plan. Like people, like I'm actually that planning friend, so I don't mind it. But I think it's important that like people also make the effort. Don't just say, "Oh, what's the plan?" Like you need to plan something. Like there's so much to do in around and around. Like you don't even have to plan something at your home. Like there's so much activities out there. Like, and for you guys tuning in, we're just talking about why adults suck as friends. Feel free to share your experiences when it comes to friendships. Um, but yeah, this was like one of them. Let me change it. Let me change the slide. I'm having fun with this. So this was another one too. I've also had friends who treated my conversation about feelings like a conflict. People will blame me for my reactions, but never reflect on the actions that provoked them. People who couldn't tolerate having their inconsistencies, avoidance, lack of commitment, disregarded, acknowledged out loud. People who, despite telling me countless times how much they love me, walked away without looking back. Oh man, when I read this, I was like, at first I had to reread it over and over again. 'Cause I was like, what is she talking about? And I thought back. Remember we talked about this before. It's like when there's like a certain conflict, like for some reason, unless they're mature, when there's a conflict, I find that it's like people tend to walk away. Like they won't face it. They don't stay accountable. There's a lot of ego and pride in place. And it's like, it takes so much effort to build a friendship. Like I remember I was watching, what's her name? Mel Robbins. And there was some study where it said it took like 150 hours basically to like actually build up a friendship. Like you need 150 hours with each other. Because think about it, like if you're in high school with the person or in school, you're with them 7 hours a day. So you done cross that. But like if you're working and stuff, you need that amount of hours to even cultivate the friendship. Like you need a certain, I think the minimum was like 80 hours or something like that. It's actually a really good video. So when I saw this and I'm like, why yep, they don't want to work through the difficulties in the friendship. But it's like, why, Keisha? Like, why wouldn't you want to work? Why wouldn't you want to work through a friendship, even if it's hard? Because it takes so much hours. Like, we're going to die. All of us are gonna die, okay? Our time is going down. Our time is not increasing. Okay? Every time we live, it's just declining, like slowly. Like our time is going out soon. So like to be ending friendships like this, like and people not wanting to talk through the conflict, and you have to always go back to this. If it was your man, would you work through it, work through the difficult parts? Yes. Right? Even if the person sucked and did bare minimum, they would do that. But then when it comes to this, like when it comes to we need to be better with each other. We need to be better as women. Okay. There's no yeah, we should, because like yes, like you said that it's a pride and ego. We need to get rid of that because it's causing this like lonely epidemic. I know they say it's around men, but I feel like it's around women because there's such a disconnect. Like we're complaining we don't have friends, but then we're doing stupidness like ending friendships. Like for like something that you could probably solve. We're we're acting like the prize. We're not putting any effort. Like there's something that has to change. Like there's no way we could continue like this. Like you can't live a life alone. Like you need to be socializing. You need people around you to encourage you. You need people to talk to just laugh. Like laugh your butt off. You need people that you just go experience things with. Yes, you could do stuff in yes, you can do stuff in solitude. But it's only so long. You need there has to be some type of balance. Even if it's once a week or twice a week. Yeah, girl, you already know they will hold on to that man and want communication in that relationship, but but zero communication and all of their other friendship. Girl, you're just speaking bars right there. It's like I should just pin this, seriously. Because what is wrong with people? What is wrong with people? I think we're just too centered on men. Men are awesome. They play their part in this world. But it's like until you learn to decenter man, it's like you'll understand like what like until you learn to decenter man, it's like you start to appreciate things around in your life that you never appreciated before. Because when it comes to men, they don't end their friendships, right? Like men will keep their friends from like 15 years, 20 years. Yes, you'll see the few men that will end it because of one a little like you'll see a man like end a friendship with if a woman says, "Oh, you ended with your guy friend," but that's maybe 10% of the men. Like most men will keep their friendships. Like I've hardly seen men complain and say, "Oh, like my guy friend started dating someone and then they stopped being friends." Like you don't hear stuff like that. You know why? Because guys like that guy talk. Like they love being with the boys and connecting with them. Like they love being with the boys and just connecting with them. Like and having guy talk. Like you can't do the same thing with your girlfriend. Like I remember I was hearing this like guy where he was saying like a lot of stuff like, women tend to like to go on dates. Like we love that stuff. We love going to restaurants. We love like doing activities, doing all the cute things, picnics. And then I remember the guy was saying, we don't really like that, right? Like, yes, they'll enjoy their time with you. They like you. But like we like that. Like it's not like if a guy had a choice, he would probably just bring you to his house and that's it. And I'm not talking just sexually. Like he would just bring you to his house and just chill. But most women, like if a guy tells a woman, okay, hey, like I'm a homebody, like staying in the house, most likely a woman will run because they're like, no, I like going places and da 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 da. And then now the man is adapting, right? Right. But like and so the point of this is what I'm trying to say is like guys like their outlet, and I feel like women don't think like that. They're just like, oh, this is the one person I have and this is all I need and that's it. But it's like, man, when you hang out with the girls, it's hits different. I don't care what anyone says. it hits different. Like you can go on a date with a guy, okay? It's all good. You go your person, whatever, your man. But it hits different when you're going out with the girls. Like and you could just like lay your hair down and just go as you like you don't have to put in your front. You don't have to be like, oh, I'm gonna be if I'm gonna be safe, is he gonna ask me some stupid question like, oh, do you wanna come back just because he bought a $20 meal? That's a whole different conversation. We're not gonna go there. But like you need friends. Patriarchy, girl. I was reading the story of Adam and Eve, and I had no idea that her longing for a husband was a part of the curse. Huh. Interesting. I never got that revelation. I never heard of that. That her longing for a husband was part of the curse. Are you that's just so it's basically we're cursed. Basically. So it's from her eating that apple. And I mean that would make a lot of sense, right? Because when I was reading that story, because we've all read it so many times, they said that basically they didn't notice that they were basically not clothed, right? Until they ate the apple, and that's when they got really conscious of everything and like everything around them and like how they didn't notice before that they were basically not clothed and they would just walk with God. Like I remember reading that and I was like, huh, they didn't notice that before. So that would make a lot of sense. So for me, when there is no balance and if I'm centering a man, I feel like I'm operating something God intend on me to. I don't want to idolize it. Yes. So you know what's funny? I was talking to a friend. I have all these stories. I guess I'm easy to talk to. So you have to be careful on here, right? Because start telling people stories. Um. So no, I'm joking. I'm kidding. But I remember I was talking to someone where she said, when she got married, the one thing that she's not married to a person anymore now, but she was saying the one thing that she regretted was what do you call it? The one thing she regretted was she said that eventually she used to do a lot of hobbies, all that stuff. And she said that once she started getting into the flow of the relationship and got married, she started to lose herself, meaning she stopped doing the things she enjoyed doing. And I was like, so she said that it felt like her life was just centered around the guy. And she said that once she got out of the unfortunately, right, got out, she got divorced. She made a vow to herself where she was like, I'm never doing that again. Like if I go out, if I'm dating someone, like if I start dancing salsa, I'm not stopping just to date the person. Cause like when you start dating the person, you usually have to make time, right? You usually have to make time. You have to, you have to switch around your schedule. No one talks about that. It's like if you're used to being in your solitude, like there's a lot of things you have to do to make time for that person. Like especially if they want, like I I remember I met this guy where he wanted me every day, and I was like, oh no, 'cause I have stuff to do on top of working. Unless you're paying all my bills, like I have work and I have like other goals, like right. And no one talks about that. Like how you have to rearrange your schedule. Like if you're tired, like you have to make effort. Note how I said that. You have to make effort to call the person because if you're not calling them, they're gonna wonder if you like them. Right? Like if you're not like picking up the phone, you're just making it one sided, they're gonna be questioning and be like, why is this thing one sided? Right? Anyways, and so the point of her story, I really admired her awareness because she was like, Nikhil, like I had to learn to basically put myself first because what she noticed too is that the guy was continued doing his stuff that he enjoyed doing. He never once decreased the stuff that he was enjoying. And I was like, see, look at that. And most times men don't. If men love their golfing or basketball, they won't ever quit it. But women would. They will sacrifice. They will sacrifice their the things they enjoy. I remember that it reminds me of the story with what's his name? Curry, the basketball player. And then remember when his wife, I forgot her name. I remember when his wife was remember there was a controversy where she talked about like, oh, she felt like she lost herself and she had other stuff. She didn't really want all the kids, blah blah blah. And people are like, well, you're married to a millionaire, like basketball player. But I think I understood it because I think over time it's like she was losing her identity behind she was in his shadow. And so he won't get it because he's like you said, the patriarchy. Like he's like the top of his career. Right? Everyone notices him and she's just like his wife, Curry's wife. And I don't think people understood it. And I'm like, it's not just about money. Like it's more than that. If it was just about money, even though money, can make you someone happy, all the money in the world doesn't replace you not knowing your identity. So let me read this. So for me, oh, you read, I read that. Some people interpret it as she will want his power, but others say that she will constantly want his love and affection. Exactly. I thought that she would constantly want his love and affection. I think that makes sense because um I feel like that's how women are nowadays. Like when you hear a woman complain about the lack in a relationship, it's always be like, oh, he didn't show me enough love. It's always that. Oh, he didn't show me enough affection, attention. Like that's the number one thing you'll hear a woman complain about. Because most men are not emotional. I mean, it's rare if you meet an emotional, intelligent man, but most men are not. They're not emotionally intelligent. Like they're not wrapped around their emotions. I mean, it's beautiful if you meet a man like that. But sometimes when a man is emotional, they can be too emotional. I mean, it depends. Like sometimes there's no equal. But it's nice to see a man's emotion though. Um, yeah, she will. And then what? Okay. Yeah, women with no goals won't understand Isha's. Yeah, that's her name, Isha. Didn't want to butcher her name. I'm not good with names. Um, yeah, like so when I saw the upward, I was like, okay, I understand what she's saying because she had goals before this. Like her main goal wasn't just to get married to him and then just popping out kids and be in his shadow in the spotlight. Like, can you imagine being in someone's shadow in the spotlight? Like, you know how much of an moron that sounds? Like that sounds messed up to me. Like I can't imagine being in someone's shadow and you're in the spotlight, but you're not even noticed. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. Like I think it's just important to build your own identity. Like you can't be in someone else's identity. I think that's why like it's like when you're doing stuff that you just enjoy and you're making women like awesome woman friends, um, and you're doing things that you just love. It helps with your identity because you get to know yourself more. You're not just because you're not just one thing. You're not just a mother. You're not just a wife, right? You are you. Like she's Isha. Like I'm Nakia. You're Keisha. Like you're not. Your identity is not in that person. It's in God. First of all, like it just can't. And yeah. So it's I don't know. And I understand it's a very hard thing because it probably like you said it started from what I just hate being with women. They're so jealous. Like it's so hard to find real nice people. Jealous from you said Halo. Jealous from what point though? A man or just jealous of you? I've heard of women saying this where they're like, "Oh, I don't like being friends with women." And it's such a hard one because I understand like women can be catty sometimes. Like sometimes I have to admit, sometimes I'm like, oh my god, why are women like this? And they like to argue. Like there are some women that are like where you're like, I don't need drama. And I could understand why some men ask for peace because some women could be hectic. Like they could be a whole like that's why I don't understand when men want two women because I think women are enough. Like with just one. But the entire culture has identity issues for sure, and if you don't know yourself, know who you are in Christ, right? Like it's gonna be very hard. Like you're gonna be trying to look for it in other places that you're not supposed to be looking for it, and you're gonna be confused basically. And then what happens is when you don't know your identity and you're putting in that other person, guess what happened? When that person lets you down And this could be a friendship or it could be a romantic relationship. When that person lets you down, you feel like your whole world's crashing down. This could be also like your identity in a business, right? If that business goes down, like your whole identity goes down because all your identity and effort and energy was in that one thing. It can't be in that one thing. It's a very hard one. Um, but I feel like there's healthy relationships with women. I know it does have a bad rep because I've met women where they're like, I only want to be friends with guy friends. The problem when you're only friends with guy friends, I feel like, some guys are not genuine as well. Like they'll be friends with you and want to do stuff with you. It's just I've heard some crazy stories. Like you still have to be careful with that. I don't feel like they're all genuine. Some guys are, but I feel like there's good women out there as well. Like there's also women out there that will have your back, but it's like anything. You have to. What's that word? Yes, Keisha. I'm glad you agree. What's that word? Um, Hold on. What's that word? Sorry. Not You have to what's that word when you're like, oh my gosh. Oh, what's the word? You basically have to scrape. You have to like pull out the ones that are bad, the bad weeds. I can't think of the word right now, but I can describe it. Um you have to pull out the bad weeds and you have to find the good ones, like the flowers. Right? Because everywhere you go there's gonna be flowers, but there's always gonna be bad weeds. And you need to basically look through them and find the good ones. Like no way around it. They're two-faced, these girls. Some of them are, but not all of them. But like I said, like in the beginning, is that some people have their own agendas, and that's a problem, right? Like people will fake it, till you make it, right? We have that saying, and they're not their true self. They're not their genuine self. Yeah, they can do that. When you're, yeah, no, but the worst is how they stare at you, like so badly and so and negative stares. Yeah, I mean, oh my god, I remember hearing Shara Evans say this that she said this where she was like usually if you're very beautiful or something like that, she's like women will tend to look at you as a threat. And I remember hearing that and I'm like, why? Why? So yes, there are some women that will look at you as a threat. Like if you look better than them, they'll look at you as competition. That's why I don't believe like all women are truly girls. Yeah, I don't believe that. I know I've seen some women complain. I see some women claim that they are girls, but they're not really girls because when they're ready, they'll get what they want. They'll go what they're after. So yeah, you have to find the good ones. And yeah, and I know it's unnecessary. It is. I agree. It's very unnecessary because thank you, Halo. I appreciate. I try to be positive, but I try to be real because I understand because I've been through that where people are just mean, especially if I don't know if I haven't gotten bullied, but I've had mean friends, especially in like elementary school and high school. You experience it where people are not really your friends. Like they'll act like it, and I'm all for it. So I'm not gonna sit here and say, "Oh, all women are great." Like, no, they're not. There's women who are crappy. I will put out there's women who are crappy. They're not nice people. Um, and I remember hearing this. I don't know if I shared this with you guys, but I remember I had this friend where she was like very beautiful. Like I would say she was a 10 out of 10. I'm not afraid to say that. And so she had another friend where she was different, unique, just not a 10 out of 10, okay? But she was a great person, had an awesome personality, so it didn't matter. And she once told me that like there was another girl, like they were going to meet up somewhere. And she said, um, she told me, oh, that girl, so not the pretty one, but the other girl was saying that one of the other girls was very mean to her. And she said that she noticed that when she speaks to the girl that's 10 out of 10, she's way nicer. And I remember thinking, why? Like, and especially if you're gonna be in the same group setting, I think that's so weird, right? Like, you have to ignore it, but how should I deal with it? You have to ignore it. Like, you literally don't pay them any mind. Like, you can't control someone else's actions. You just can't. Like at class, the moment I enter, these negative stares are killing me. Exactly, Keisha. Tell her again. Don't look for issues. Like, do your own thing. You keep your head up, and you continue to be confident. Like people are gonna be mean out there. Like, people are gonna give you weird stares. People are gonna say weird stuff, and you can't let them change your mood. You can't let them like the thing is that people can only hide it so long. So with that girl, like probably right away, like because my friend was like that, like the girl that was 10 out of 10 would basically call them out. Like she didn't care. She was one of those like down to earth. We don't talk anymore, but she was one of those like she didn't play that basically. So and it just proves like even the most beautiful people can be really stand up people. I don't think it's a look thing. I just think it's a character thing, and usually it's an insecurity. Oh, you're a teacher, Keisha. That's so cute. There you go. There you go. You're getting some great advice, Halo. I tell my students all the time: learn to overlook stupidity. Sorry, because that's so real. Learn to look overlook stupidity when you're young. Yeah, I wish I had that advice. Like for me, I didn't do anything crazy, but I remember I wanted to hang out with like the person that I admired, and it ended up being a mistake because they weren't the right people for me to hang around with, and that was hard for me to distinguish. Yeah, yeah, because you know, even in your adult life, even when you stop going to class, you're gonna meet people who don't like you, and I've recognized that. Not everyone likes me as much as you guys like my energy. I think I get along with most people, but there's some people that just don't get along with me. Like I just don't drive. It's not everyone, but I would tell you there's people who don't like me, and I ignore them. I do my thing. Like I can't allow people to mess up my mood, and like I'm not changing who I am. Unless obviously it's morally or it's something where I really need to change. But if I'm who I am, I'm being friendly, I'm being kind, I'm being a great friend. Like that's okay. We don't have to gel. You don't have to gel with everyone. Just like with a guy, you don't have to get along with everyone. Like you don't have to date everyone, right? Yeah, I already feel it could be a bond. Yeah, yeah. I feel like it drive with you too, right? Because you're being real. Yes, exactly. We're all chilling here, but yeah. And I have to admit though, those things used to bother me too. Like when someone didn't like me, it used to bother me and make me want to like prove myself and be like, like try to be extra friendly. But I stopped doing that. Like I hate that. Like, my worst thing is I hate when people are fake around me. Like, I will tell them straight up, stop being fake. If you don't want to say hi, I'm okay. I'm one of those people. I would say it in the right moment. Like, sometimes I'll just leave it because right now I'm teaching myself, like, you can't control other people's actions. You can't necessarily tell people what to do. But I low key want to do that. But I've also learned, like, sometimes you take your feelings out, detach yourself from the situation and treat it like if they stare at you, just wave and be like, "Hey, hey." You can even should go like this. It probably make them look so awkward when they stare. You go, and then continue walking. I would do stuff. I would do something like that, and you kill them with kindness. I don't care. Kill them with kindness, and they'll stop doing that foolishness. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I could be confident, but I have my insecurities as well, so I get it. I don't think anyone's perfect, to be honest. We're all working on it. Like even in adult, like even it never stops. Unfortunately, like there's some women in their 30s and 40s, and they still act like they're back in high school. It's crazy. It's just nuts. Like it's like what we were talking about earlier, right? Like people like this whole post, like people and the whole don't even look back. Like you could be, um, we all, like people could have what did it say here? Oh yeah, yeah. They act like they love you, right? And then it's all about them, and then they won't even look back. They won't even like twitch an eye, like when they're ready to like stop talking to you, even though you've been there for them. So yeah, yeah. Try it. Kill them with kindness, right? And then you move on about your business. Don't even worry about. I don't. And I think it's weird how people just stare. I think that's just so weird. Anyways, like let me see if I had another one. So fun. She had a next one. She had I made plenty of mistakes as a friend too. I've been impulsive, gotten into unnecessary arguments, and sometimes expected people to handle the things the way I would. See, this is a great example of what we're talking about. I've had to look inwards many times to understand what I need to change and grow from it. But acknowledging all of that is what allowed me to become the friend I am today. Exactly. You can't control other people, but you could always look inwards and be aware of like what you may be doing wrong. That's all you can do, and let it shape you to be a better friend. That's all you can do. Like I remember I told you guys one of the situations where I set a boundary and then we ended up not talking. And straight up, my therapist told me the one thing I would have done differently, not the boundary part, but they said maybe you should have texted them and explained, hey, this is why I walked away, and we would talk later. And now that's something I would probably put in my friendships moving forward, right? Is I would maybe if you get into an argument and so you don't so it didn't just obviously it's their choice, but you at least put one foot forward and you say, hey, I would love to talk later. And if they say no, it's fine. But you put that out there and leave it open. But I still don't like I can differ with that, right? At the same time where I'm like, do I really need to do that? Right? But like there's always things that you could do better, right? That I would probably do better. And that's what matters is you're learning how to navigate situations because if we're always just ending friendships, and like and it's like you'll never get anywhere. And it's like the same thing we were talking about, like if people are just staring, they don't like you, like you learn to navigate. You just have to learn to pivot and navigate. Like that's all you can really do. Wow, we're on here for almost an hour. It's crazy. It's the longest. This was such a good discussion, guys. I think I'll do more of these, like make little PowerPoints. I think they're so fun. Did you like these little PowerPoints? I'm just trying something different. But I'd probably make my own or something. I think they're like fun and Keisha, I'm really thinking about that, like the Patreon and creating that community because it'd be fun to just chat and stuff. Um, I would really like to do something like that, but anyways, I'm still thinking about it more and more, and I'm getting to it. But yeah, I'm just going to. This is for anyone that watches this. Wait, let me just. How do I? Okay, there we go. And yeah, this is just for anyone that watches this. Again, based on the conversation, if you get to the end, definitely go click in the description, get the 7 day self connection list. And it's a fun prompt thing I did where it was for people who want to reconnect with yourself and they just want ideas. And if you go to the link, you could just read the blurb here. But I thought I wanted to create something like this because I wish I had it back then. I wish I had something like this back then because if I had it back then, it'd make my life easier and not have to figure out everything on my own. You're figuring out yourself on your own, then everything changes, and you start worrying about what other people think about yourself. So yeah, but yeah, this was a great discussion. Um, yeah, and let me know what you think in the comments about that. Like having like a little community to talk and talk about real things, but more privately. And I promise I wouldn't share it on here. Let me know if that'd be something that you guys would want. Because I would like to create something like that, like a community.